Episode 7 of From was recently released, and it's safe to say that it was an episode that didn't provide any answers and is now actually considered the lowest rated episode of all time. Something which I think is a real shame. The 6th episode laid down some great foundations for episode 7 to be able to provide some answers, but it didn't do that at all. Instead, it repeated a few things, and the only thing that had light shining on it was Elgin and the backroom that he discovered in a cellar. With it building towards the season finale now, and the ending of the previous episode containing a moment which looks to be detrimental for a few characters. Now that the preview for episode 8 has been released, I thought I'd give my theories and predictions on what I think could happen in the next episode. So let's get into it. Here is From Season 3 Episode 8, Theories Explained. Just to let you know, this video will contain spoilers. Fatima's consequence. The main thing that happened in episode 7 of the show occurred right at the end of it. We saw that after Fatima found out that she wasn't pregnant, whatever had been causing her to have these side effects started to take control of her mind, showing that it was developing inside of her and she was slowly losing control. She was almost punished in that moment for not eating the spoiled crops, as when she walked away from them, she entered a state of severe pain. When Tillie entered the greenhouse to check on her, Fatima stabbed her with garden shears whilst she wasn't in full control of herself. This then led Ellis to walk in and see Fatima standing over the body. This is probably going to dominate a lot of the next episode. Within the trailer, it looked like Fatima listened to Tillie's final words in a literal sense and ran away. This is because the body was randomly stumbled across and not reported. Donna mentioned how the people of the town were most likely going to be looking for somebody to blame for the death of Tillie, and rightfully so, because it meant that there was now a murderer that walked amongst them. With Ellis and Fatima being nowhere to be seen, and also with Boyd telling Donna about what was happening with Fatima in the previous episode, which led Donna to want to kick Fatima out of Colony House as soon as possible. I think Donna is going to feel as though it was Fatima that did this. What I found interesting in the trailer was that when the body was found, the camera cut to Elgin. In the most recent episode, we obviously saw Elgin stumble across this mysterious place that looked as though it was once used to keep somebody captive. It was a dark room where there was a bed in there, and it was locked behind 2 completely different doors, almost as if it was some kind of prison that somebody didn't want anybody else to stumble upon. With all of the signs kind of pointing to the fact that Fatima is transforming into a creature. What if once the people find out that it was her that killed Tillie, and also about the strange side effects that she's been having? Elgin could tell them of this place where she could end up being locked away and out of harm's way, meaning that she could still be kept an eye on but wouldn't be able to harm anybody in the process, just in case she goes full-on creature mode and starts a rampage of killing people. Within the preview, Fatima said, "What if it happens again? I killed someone." Fatima clearly needs help from the people of the town. However, I imagine this help is probably going to come in the form of outrage. And the togetherness that has been such an important factor in this season of the show is going to be ripped to pieces, ultimately connecting to the wider plot of the town trying to break Boyd, because Boyd is the very person that aims to keep the town together as one and the morale high. I also think this is where Acosta might start to come into her own a bit. We saw in the previous episode that she undermined Boyd's ability of being the town sheriff. She was an actual police officer on the outside, and she didn't like the fact that Boyd was essentially playing cop, with Boyd most likely doing his best to protect Ellis and Fatima as they're his family. That will be something that will go against the greater good of the people of the town. And this is where Acosta could cause some kind of divide in the people if she manages to get them on side. Boyd abandoned Randall in episode 4, remember, so people might start to question his ability as a leader and overall protector. We know that there is a bit of resentment towards Acosta though for what happened to Nikki, but this other death and Boyd potentially covering it up could be the final straw for the people of the town. I think Fatima is beyond saving now, and not only will she do damage by turning into a creature, but she'll also do more damage by the divide that she's most likely going to cause within the town and Boyd's loyalty to his family. Julie and Ethan. Within the preview for the next episode, we also saw a section that was centered around Julie going back to the forest that Randall took her away from, where there were the ruins that she felt was calling her into them. However, this time though, Julie seems to have brought her little brother Ethan along, something which does feel like a dumb decision. We know that she's been having side effects from the events that occurred at the end of season 2, so the pull that she's feeling to the ruins is probably coming directly from that. I imagine she is going to go back to Randall with the hopes of getting him to drive her there and go through it with her, as she mentioned that she knew that he felt what she was feeling. But I don't think Randall is going to go. He's skeptical of a lot of things because of the hallucinations that he has, and he won't want to make things worse. So I think that's why Julie is going to end up being there with only her brother. Maybe she's going to take the car that Randall drove her in, as after all, he did give her one lesson. Once she goes into the ruins, I think she's going to experience severe pain, just like what she had in season 2 of the show. If I'm being honest, I don't know why she would even choose to go into the ruins on her own, considering everything that she's been through. Could this be connected to the phone call that Jim had in episode 2 of the season, where he was told that he needed to keep a closer eye on his children, and that they belonged to whatever the entity's voice was? I think it could well be. Tabitha and the Red Stones. This is the one story arc that I feel needs to get some dedicated time in the next episode of the show, as it was pretty much neglected following the revelation of the nightmare in episode 6. However, with Fatima killing Tillie having taken place, I feel like that's going to be the thing that takes center stage, which ultimately means that this might get pushed to the side. We know that Tabitha has a connection to that specific forest and the creatures that lurk there during the night, which we've not seen but have been told that they're different to the very things that enter the town due to the way that they sound. This connection is due to a recurring nightmare that Tabitha had when she was younger. Jade mentioned that she was always destined to end up in the town and that it was fate due to seeing it when she was younger, so I'm hoping that we'll get closer to finding out the reason as to why people end up there. Whether that be the reincarnation theory that's been floating around, or Tabitha actually once being there because she was Eloise and is Victor's sister but forgot the memory of being there, which ultimately made it feel like a dream. The importance of Tabitha has been stated a lot in this season of the show, and how she bears a resemblance to Victor's mother, Miranda, who was once considered to be the chosen one as well. The fact that Tabitha had nightmares of this place clearly shows that she was specifically chosen, but I think it's about time that we got closer to finding out why, so I'm hoping that will happen in the next episode. Victor and Jasper. The other main story that we've got going on at the moment that I hope gets some screen time is the fact that Victor is trying to get some answers out of Jasper the puppet about the night that the people of the town were killed. Judging by some press photos that have been released, it looks like Victor is going to be alongside Tabitha and Sarah, and whilst they're together, Victor is going to have some kind of revelation about what it was that happened. They appear to be standing in a basement or cellar, so what if that is the very space where Victor was on the night where he was told to stay there by his mother before everybody died? With Tabitha being there, surely it has to connect to everything that she's going through with her connection to Miranda. I am actually also starting to question if Jasper did actually ever speak in the past, or if it's just Victor remembering things incorrectly. I'm hoping this is also another story that gets addressed because it's kind of been forgotten about. As you can see, there are so many different directions that the next episode of the show could go in. However, I think it's going to be specifically focused around Fatima and Elgin. For now, these are my predictions based off of the preview that we received. With less than a week to go, bring it on. So, there you have it. From Season 3, Episode 8, Theories Explained. If you want to see every episode of From Season 3 broken down, then click on the card in the top corner. There's an entire playlist there. I also recently did a video discussing what I feel the show's biggest issue is, so if you want to see a deep dive on that, then that's also there too. And finally, if you'd like to see what I rate the latest movies that don't quite make the cut to getting a dedicated video, then head over to my Letterboxd profile. It's where I rate the latest releases in real time. What do you think will happen in episode 8? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. As always, thanks for tuning into the video, and I'll see you in the next one.